Bill Armstrong, the head basketball coach at McNeese State University, was on Scott Drew's staff, and he joins David Smoke. That's me, 365 Sports. What is it like? The portal's open. It's been open. You got a new program. You got to try to keep people from leaving and then also bringing new people in. And how has that gone, Bill, in the first few days since you were named? And congratulations on being the new head coach at McNeese.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Couldn't be more excited for the opportunity to lead this this program, which to me is maybe the hottest program in the country towards, bigger and better things as well, to build off of the foundation that's been laid here. And, the foundation, the support staff from President Roos to Heath Schroyer, coaches win games. Administrations win championships, and so these guys have put this all together to where this is one of the most coveted jobs in the country, and I'm blessed to have the opportunity to lead it forward into next year. And the biggest key was to get these guys to come back that wanted to come back and be a part of McNeese for another year. And we get DJ back, JG back, and then Tajon back to come back and then lead us to another championship run, and a possible three-peat. So it's exciting, man. So getting those guys back was priority number one, and then boom, we jump into the portal, and then now we got to build around them, and got a big commitment last week, which we were very proud of, and hope to get some more here as we move forward.
Well, Bill, be honestly, when you got the job, and of course Will goes, and he's now at NC State, one of the things I wondered about was how many people, in fact, he even brought that up, but travel with him to go there. But you have worked magic. Has it been better than you thought as far as the reaction? And I know you're a hell of a coach and got great relationships. I was curious about that.
Yeah, it's better than I could have imagined getting those three guys back. To be able to build a team around three guys that were integral parts of, back-to-back Southland Conference regular season championships, back-to-back regular Southland Conference tournament championships, back-to-back NCAA tournaments, and winning a game. I mean, to have those three, they know what it looks like. They know what it takes. And to have them leading our program, man, I couldn't be more excited as we move forward.
So now you have, as you mentioned, McNeese, a hot name with what was accomplished last year. When you saw that he was moving on, and you made that clear, even when they got to the second round, everyone knew what was about to happen. How much, because you have been on staff with him, did you communicate with him about the opportunity, and how quickly had McNeese State reached out to you?
Yeah, obviously with what Coach Wade did here and the run that they not only this past year, but the year before, I was at the games. I was the head coach at Link Academy 2 years ago, and I was at the Southland Tournament Championships and saw the passion of the fan base and the commitment of the fan base and the facilities. And man, it was a dream to get this job and have the opportunity to do that. Coach Wade and I talk daily, not necessarily, he's focused on his season. I was focused on Baylor, so not as much about this job. But then when it came open, obviously, man, I wanted it as much as you could want anything, and ended up talking to Heath, and I know Heath talked to a bunch of different guys, and it was a highly coveted job, and a lot of guys wanted it, I know, but I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity, man, and we're ready to make the most of it.
All right, I got to have some fun with you. I've done my due diligence, and I interviewed you, I think, right after you took the job, and obviously Jacobe Walter was at Baylor when you joined Scott Drew's staff too. But so tell me about. Let's start with this. What is the nickname? Well, you've got some Cajun in you, right, or some Louisiana in you. Bayou Billy, is that your nickname? Yeah.
That sounds good to me. You like that?
Yeah, I do.
I think we could run with it. I told my wife if I'm going to have to wear a sleeveless vest that you can see my upper body, I'm going to start needing to do some push-ups. But other than that, I like the name.
Well, you're on the treadmill a lot. Is that true? So obviously,
that is true.
Yeah. How many miles do you run? Is it like a couple of miles, or is it sometimes longer than that? What? Give me an idea about your workout routine.
Yeah, usually I try to go for about 4, but I usually do 4 or 5 times a week. My goal is 20. I got to get 20 a week, or I feel like I've didn't pass for the week. That's a failed week if I don't get to 20. I try to get to more if I can, but 20 is the goal. That's what I usually get. Sometimes I have to run 4 times a week. Sometimes I cruise and can get on there every day. So I try to get 20 a week.
I was running. I used to be 280 pounds and got down to 190.
Man,
and I started.
Awesome.
I started running about 8 to 12 a week, and then on Friday mornings would go long. And it was such a great feeling. And then, of course, at my age, things start to. They're not quite as good about recovering, but I miss being able to run as much as I used to.
Recovery is the hard part for sure. But I read a book few years ago, Tiny Habits, and you just got to start, man. There's a chapter in there about a guy doing 1 push-up after he came out of the bathroom every day.
Wow.
Every time he left the bathroom, he got down and did 1 push-up, and that led to 5, and that led to 10, and all of a sudden the dude was ripped, according to the chapter in the book. But it's just about consistency and habits. You can do anything you want to do if you're consistent in it and, stay focused on the task at hand.
So, do you run with your tall, long gold socks on?
Of course. Always tall, long gold socks. That's my thing.
So, what is the brand for McNeese State? Who are they with? Who are they hooked up with?
Under Armour. You're talking about Under Armour. Yes, yes.
Well, some of the coaches at Baylor are wondering if you're going to be able to get some tall gold Under Armour logo socks rather than Nike now.
I'm certainly going to put in for them. I would assume with, our colors being gold as well, we should be able to find some of those. But we're going to search long and far till we get some.
So what's it like, even though it was a short amount of time, to be now a part of the Scott Drew coaching tree that is spread out all over the country with head coaches throughout America?
Yeah, I mean, his tree is unbelievable, and to be able to now be a part of that, I mean, it's an honor to have had the opportunity to work for Coach Drew and work with those guys on staff. I was only there for 9 months, but I'll remember it for a lifetime. And those are lifelong friends and lifelong colleagues. And I learned so much about basketball and how to coach basketball and all the things that go on to obviously a perennial winning program. We won a game in the tournament this year, and so we're one of 3 schools, I believe, that have done that now 6 straight years. So what Coach Drew, I mean, he runs one of the most consistent programs in the country. Won a national championship in the last 5 years. I mean, to be able to learn from him, I learned things that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. And most importantly is that they're just unbelievable men, and they taught me how to be a better man, how to be a better husband, how to be a better father. And I'll never forget my 9 months there at Baylor, and I am honored to be on Scott Drew's coaching tree. I mean, what the guys he's got out there, man, I got a lot to live up to there, and I got a lot to live up to here with Coach Wade and the success he's done. So just trying to get to work and make everybody proud.
I tell you what, they've already had a pretty good week with their portal additions too. So I looked at your bio, and I did that even back when you came in from Link Academy to Waco, but I always love it when I see a coach who's been at different levels. I just absolutely cherish that. I covered JUCO ball in Region 14 in Texas,
okay.
And as you know, it's really good. You were at Chipola.
Very good.
And for a couple of years. The way you've been around, and yet you have learned from so many different people, how has that molded you to be your own guy?
I think it's just prepared me to be, sitting in the seat that I am now. I started out, my dad's a high school basketball coach. I played for him, then went on to play for Murray Bartow.
Yep.
Was there for 5 years and fortunate enough to be a GA there. So I've been a GA at a high Division I level. Then from there to junior college. So I've been at the junior college level, and all the connections I made there with Coach Cross, I still have bonds there that I talk to daily. So So they have those connections. Then I go back to Birmingham Southern and work for a legend in Dwayne Rebo, who won 2 NAIA national championships before going Division I, which we were the 3 years I was there. And, then get the call to come work for Andy Kennedy, who was an assistant on staff when I played at UAB, and just with him for 11 years. And we become the, he's the all-time winningest coach in the history of Ole Miss basketball, and probably will be forever and ever. And then get the opportunity to go with, one of the hottest young coaches in the country, Will Wade, and learn so much from him. And then from there, used all those experiences to go to Link Academy, which is a national high school level. And, fortunate to have great players and a great staff and great support system there. And we got to, the opportunity to win a national championship there. And then get to go with Coach Drew, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer and won a national championship, at 50 years old, and probably win a couple more. I've been very blessed in my path and the people that I've gotten to learn from. And like I said, I hope I can use all that to continue the championship ways here at McNeese and make everybody proud.
I had this from Coach Nunes. He said that whenever Bill is mad or frustrated, he gets in his famous stance, arms crossed, shoulders shrugged, and legs spread. Can you?
I can verify that. That is a true statement. I think all our players know. I think, I don't know when I started doing that, but that, when they're doing impersonations I remember the guys at LSU doing the impersonations of me, and that was usually what they went to, the arms under in my armpits crossed, and the stance. And that's I frustrated, probably a little bit angry at times. Sometimes I think that helps me focus. So I think it's all the emotions.
What's the soccer tire story about?
So being at Link, we were gold as well, and we had a bunch of gold socks delivered to wear, and the guys didn't really want to wear them. I just had them in my office, and I could be forgetful at times. So every day when I'd go run, if I didn't have a pair of socks, or if I, got done running in my socks I had on, I needed a pair of socks, and I would just put them on. I think I probably ended up wearing about every pair of socks in that box. Oh. And I just have them at the house. And then I started wearing, obviously you go to Baylor and it's the same color, so I would wear them out to practice. And then Pastor Brewer said, man, that's your thing. You need to wear that every day. And I gave him my word that I would, and I wore them every day since. And then come to McNeese, and we got the same gold, so I got some on right now.
What was it like to coach Jacobe Walter in high school? You saw him at Baylor, and now, of course, what he's doing in the NBA.
Oh, quite frankly, just a blessing, man. What a great kid Jacobe is, first and foremost. Obviously, he's a great player. He goes to Baylor and has the success he did freshman year in the Big 12, and then goes on to be the 17th pick in the draft. And man, he invited me to the draft, and being able to be a part of that, it was a bucket list, and just something I'll never ever forget. Man, what a great moment for him and his family. And they got great. He's got a great family. And to be able to be a part of that, man, like I said, it's just a blessing. It's just funny how such a small world of coaching and basketball. And so Eddie Walter played for Dwayne Rebo, who gave me my first Division I assistant spot. So, Coach Rebo had told me about Jacobe a long time ago. And then, ironically, I wasn't really the one that got him committed to Link. Rodney Perry and Jake White was an assistant there. And then Jake White stayed on with me for the national championship run. And then now he's an assistant at Sam Houston State. But they were the ones who had Jacobe committed, and man, what a great season he had for us, and then led him and his teammates to a national championship, then goes to Baylor and has a great year. And now I think he just hit another game winner. He's hit a couple game winners this year for Toronto. So, man, that kid has earned every single thing that he's ever gotten. He's one of the hardest working kids I've ever coached, one of the best kids I've ever coached, and he deserves everything he gets.
A couple more questions. Bill Armstrong, the head coach of McNeese State, was on the Baylor staff last year. The Final Four, Auburn, Florida, Duke, and Houston. You've seen Duke up close. You've seen Houston up close. Obviously, I'm sure you've watched Auburn and Florida quite a bit too. This is an amazing Final Four. This is like all number one seeds. Hasn't happened since 2008. Rarely ever happens.
I was going to ask. I thought that was one of the first times that it ever happened. I didn't know if it had or not. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. But go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
But you just saw Duke. Obviously, they're on a roll. But you've played Houston. You've seen what Kelvin's done. Your thoughts about those two, but especially what Kelvin Sampson's done at Houston since he's in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have any more respect or admiration for Coach Sampson. I've known him since I was a kid in this business. He was friends with my college coach, Murray Bartow. I remember the first time I ever met him and just sitting down and listening to him talk and just soaking things in. He's an unbelievable basketball mind. He gets the credit for being such a great defensive coach, which he is, maybe the best, but just his basketball mind, but coaching mind. He knows it's more about the X's and O's. He knows it's more about the kids and the culture and putting a team together and then, being tough on them and holding them accountable, but at the same time loving up on them. And, I had so many different things I've learned from him over the years, just listening to him. Every time I get a chance, I love listening to him talk about coaching and more so coaching his team than even the X's and O's stuff, which he's obviously great at. And I got to see that a little bit too live and up close. The last two games we played against them this year. But, man, what a great team, group of guys that have been together for a long, long time. And for them to be able to make the Final Four, I'm so happy for Kelvin, Kellen, and the rest of the Houston staff.
Last question. What do McNeese State Cowboys fans, what do they expect from Bill Armstrong?
Yeah, we have a motto we say we're going to attack the paint and protect the paint. So offensively, we're going to play downhill. We're going to play fast. We're going to get that ball in the paint and then spray it back out for a bunch of threes and layups. We're going to play a lot of analytic-based offense, very similar to what Coach Wade's played here, maybe a little bit faster. But it's going to be a fun style of offense. Robbie Coker, to me, is an offensive guru, and that's what he really does. That's what his teams did in high school that he coached, and brought him in to help me with that and get the guys to really play fast with great spacing. He studied a lot of stuff from Alabama and Nate Oates, and we want to play very similar to that offensively. Then defensively, we're not going to change much. Coach Wade's dominated this league defensively the last 2 years, and it's going to be very similar, just in your face, switching defense, protecting the paint, being in the gaps, making teams shoot. We call them non-paint touch threes and contested non-paint touch threes. And we're going to press. We'll probably press a little bit more. You've seen some of it, but we're going to amp that up a little bit and do different things from trapping and stuff like that to increase the tempo, man. The more shots you get on goal, the better chance you have of putting up more points, because that's in the end, the name of the game is scoring the most points. But we're going to be a defensive-minded team, and they'll be held accountable for playing defense and just give them a lot of freedom offensively. My offensive philosophy has always been get the best players, hold them accountable, and teach them to play defense, and then offensively just put them in position to be successful and give them confidence to be successful and let them play. Obviously there's a lot of teaching that goes along with that, but I want them to play free and loose offensively, and then just enjoy that part, because they're not going to enjoy us each and every day in practice defensively. So got to let them have a little fun on offense.
The Southland Conference champions, and of course won a game in the tournament. McNeese State, Will Wade now at NC State, Bill Armstrong, who's been our guest now at McNeese State. I'm an SFA grad, so I know all about the Southland Conference. They're back in it again after so many changes in realignment. But, Bill, thanks for your time. Good luck.
Thank you. You as well.
Bill Armstrong on 365 Sports.